Hey guys, welcome back to another video. These last 2 weeks have been very busy, so much going on. But I'm here, I'm alive. In this video, I want to talk about reverse culture shock. So, some of you may not know what that is. Many years ago, well, maybe 2 years ago, I did a video talking about culture shock when I arrived to Spain. Culture shock, is basically you travel to a new country, you travel abroad, and you're in shock because everything is so different and you have to adjust and get used to the culture and the environment. And you may have feelings of isolation, depression, because everything is new, or feelings of excitement, because everything is new. And you have to, adapt and assimilate. And it has its challenges, but it also has its benefits. Now, reverse culture shock is when you live abroad for so long that you finally start to adapt to your new culture, your new language, or what have you. And then you go back home for whatever reason. Maybe you want to move back. Maybe you're just visiting. And then when you go home, you're in shock because everything feels so alien, even though it's what you grew up with. So I've been living in Spain for almost 6 years. I think in June it'll be 6 years, more or less. And I've only been home once. My family has came to see me twice, but I have been home only once since I left Spain. And I never talked about my experience when I went back home. It was a shock. It was. And it was incredible because I was telling myself, like, wait, why am I having such a hard time adapting myself to this? Like, this is my home, you know what I mean? But it felt very different and very alien. So some of the things that shocked me initially when I went home was the time we have dinner. Because if you've been to Spain, I think Spain is the only country in Europe that's like this, but Spanish people eat very late. 10 o'clock, 10:30, maybe 9:30 at night. In the US, we have dinner much earlier. So for me, when it was time to have dinner, I was like thinking, it's kind of early, right? Like, why are we having dinner like 7 o'clock or whatever? And when it was time for me to go to bed, I was still hungry, like still thinking about food. So I got up and I went into my mom's refrigerator to see what food was left over. Well, food that my brother didn't eat. Okay, so because whatever's left in there, my brother would eat it. But yeah, it was something that was difficult for me because when I came to Spain, it was difficult for me to eat very late. And now, every day eating late. Now it's like I go home and I'm like, yeah, this is really early. Speaking of food, another shock to me was going to the grocery store and seeing the variety of junk food, which I've said in a past video, I love that about the US. It was just a shock to see it. Also, it was a shock because there were no Spanish omelets. There were no tortilla de patatas. And I'm used to seeing that. There were no legs of ham hanging from the walls, or someone giving you, Iberic ham to try. That I completely forgot about. Other things like when you go to the checkout and there's someone there to bag your groceries because in Spain you have to do that yourself. And that shocked me when I came to Spain because when I first bought stuff, I was waiting for someone that was gonna bag it up and there was no one. I was like, oh, I have to do this on my own. But yeah, in the US, I'm like ready to do it. And there was someone there that was like, helping me. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot, completely forgot. Yeah, so different dynamics like that, like just being with my family because families in Spain are completely different. So going home, having TV trays You know, Spain doesn't do TV trays. They always ask me like, we watch American movies and like the family is eating on TV trays. Um, no, here everyone eats at the dinner table and they talk and they talk. So yeah, it was weird having the dinner table, the TV tray, watching television. I liked it, don't get me wrong, but it was strange to me because I haven't done it for so long. Other things that I can say, um, was a shock, reverse shock, I guess. Was just even speaking English, like not English, like teaching English, you know what I mean? But like having speaking in my dialect with my family, and we speak on the phone, but it's not the same when you're actually there. And it was funny for me because sometimes I would talk and then like I just instinctively want to speak Spanish. Or I may say something and I'm thinking, is this the correct word? Like, did I say it right? So yeah, that was different. Wall to wall carpeting, that was a shock because I never liked wall to wall carpeting at all. And in Spain, it's non-existent. There was no place I lived that had wall to wall carpeting. People even ask me like, why do they have wall to wall carpeting? It's like dirty, it gets stains. But when I came to Spain, I was in shock originally because they have these hard tile floors, and in the winter it's cold. It's very, very cold. And yeah, and when I went back home, I was like, yeah, there's carpet. Like, okay, yeah, I have to get used to this. So reverse culture shock is a thing if you travel. Sometimes, you could be gone maybe for a month in another country and then come back to your home country and then have to readjust. The thing too was that I was only home maybe for like 1 or 2 weeks. And so when I started to readjust, I had to leave and come back to Spain. So that's it, guys. That's my experience with reverse culture shock. If you are a traveler, I would love to hear about your experiences, how well you've adapted, if you adapted, and what it was like for you. Because I know I'm not the only one. I've talked to other people, usually expats. They haven't, been living here for a while. They have said similar things. They have been here for maybe just a few months and then had to go back to the US and then had to readjust, and then maybe they came back to Spain for whatever reason. So yeah, so if you had this experience, I would love to hear from you. If you have not had this experience and you haven't traveled yet, be prepared. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Hasta luego. Ciao.